Hi, I'm Rebecca Martinez Fitzgerald. I'm a therapist in Durham, North Carolina. I'm a licensed clinical social work associate, and I use EFT with couples and individuals here in Durham. Today, I am talking with Linda Hobbs out of Charlotte. Hi, Linda.
Hi, Rebecca.
Can you tell me about yourself?
Yes. First, thank you for having me here.
Happy to have you.
And Lorrie, of course. And I am a licensed clinical social worker. I like to refer to myself as Charlotte's couples mind-body connector. I'm new to Charlotte from Philadelphia. I'm licensed in Pennsylvania and here in North Carolina. So I'm seeing clients everywhere in North Carolina and Pennsylvania online. Um, yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm so glad to have you here.
Mhm.
Now, I understand that you really focus on attachment when you're working with couples around issues related to sex and sexual intimacy.
Yeah.
How do you describe or explain or conceive of attachment injuries and how it interferes, how it plays into sex?
Yes. So first, like an attachment injury is when we have this expectation of our loved one, the person that, that's our person, the person we're in an intimate romantic relationship with. And we have an understanding, we would have talked about this earlier on before we got married, before we decided to be monogamous. Um, and there's just this expectation that you're going to be there for me.
Mhm.
Like when I really need you, when something has hurt me at work or with my family or just a loss, something really unexpected, you're going to be there for me to provide comfort and care. So when something happens and you're not there, that whole the way we're wired and our nervous system and all. So I also like my focus is on couples and meditation therapy because just that meditation, just getting in our body just helps soothe us. But also, so when our partner's not there, like then we're scared, right? Hurt then is in the driver's seat of our relationship, right?
Yeah.
Anger, fear, loss, a threat, is this real? Are we going to stay? Do we have staying power? Because whether we've been married or in a committed relationship, we've left relationships before, we've loved before, and we're like, is this one going to stay?
Yeah, for
And so,
sure.
and so the other part is, so how does that also relate to sexuality? So
Mhm.
it's kind of like, so EFT is emotionally focused, right? So usually there is an injury that we're addressing, right? Some partner, something happened, right? And the injured party wants to know why, and how, right? And so usually the offending partner is kind of like, takes defensive. So we as therapists, we're helping them go through this cycle, right? We're slowing it down for them and trying to get ultimately to where both of them are feeling hurt, not held. Well, then we end up being their attachment figure, right? While they're
Mhm.
trying to get back to a place of re-engagement, of forgiveness and responsiveness, the therapist is the person that's the attachment figure. So either they're going through some emotional place, relational, where there's a disconnection, and we're helping them with them. But sometimes sometimes you can actually be fine and emotionally be connected with your partner, emotionally, right? You're there for me, but things can happen, and then our bodies, as secure as our relationship may be, our bodies are unpredictable. Right? It could be age, it could be a medical condition, it could just be worry about something that's happening at the office or that the kids are keeping us so busy, and so our energy level. So then couples end up getting to a cycle or pattern with their sexuality, right? And so then they're turning away from each other sometimes, right? And
Yeah.
so really, asking for permission, because sex, there has to be, safety, right?
Mhm.
Not just obligatory sex, they say, right? So that there's real pleasure. Um, so then we're tracking that pattern, helping the partners to see, what's happening. Because like for some people, sex is life. Sex is a lifeblood. So if there's
Mhm.
no sex, they're truly in pain. right? And so then it's like the assessment. So are they both erotically wired the same, right? I mean, that was like one thing for me to really understand as a therapist. Like two people can be wired so differently and love each other so deeply, but yet one be in so much pain. And the other is just like, oh, we can do the same position forever. And
Mhm.
the other person is like really struggling here. So how do we make
Mhm.
it safe to have those conversations? How do we make it safe to get into that pattern and become curious? And the only way, and there's research that says that the only way that a couple becomes really stay in the curious place is when they're safe, there's low stress.
Mhm.
Um, Otherwise, if their stress level, like the front brain, they might be a little curious, but then they're like, oh, fear. Okay,
Yeah, but it's so much safer to explore when you feel secure and you're on steady ground.
absolutely. And so that's also a part of why I bring meditation into it. And if a couple is comfortable, after there's, and I always ask for permission and I meet the clients exactly where they're at. So it's, um, once they're comfortable, should they be comfortable? Some couples are so anxious about coming into treatment that we might just do a breathing exercise
Cool.
and just really just, this is a safe space, right? And we can slow down with it. And some of
Mhm.
the conversations that we have, some of the breathing exercises, maybe even journaling, some of the eye gazing, when we learn to do those things and have those more intimate conversations where only when it's safe to be vulnerable, couples take those connections where we've helped reframe them, they take them home. And then they start getting more examples of, um, yeah, you are there. You feel me. You're feeling my pain. That thing that felt a certain way, like, you're just being selfish, was really your way of trying to keep the peace. Like, I'm coming towards you,
Mhm.
be there, and you're like, how can I help you when I don't even know how to process my own pain? So I'm turning away to feel safe.
So, Linda, I know you've treated clients and couples through a wide range of life transitions, including serious medical diagnoses such as cancer,
Mhm,
as well as, the inevitable transformation of aging.
mhm.
How do these changes impact sexual connections in couples, and how can EFT help?
Absolutely. So, wow. Um, wow, will you be there for me when I need you most? So, when or if there's that diagnosis of cancer, right? When or if you lose a job, people say like sex, money, and in-laws are the reasons why marriages fail, right? But I would beg to differ and say it's about our connection and our emotions, right? Because those things are definitely important, right? But it's how can we have these conversations? So how does EFT help? Is just really um, I love the model, just really being present in that moment, just learning to be safe, right? Just helping that whatever that client or that couple is presenting with, that being the thing that we're going to work through, that we're going to talk about. Just helping them with again putting that in the cycle. How are you reacting? What's coming up for you, and helping clients get that felt sense of, oh wow, this is really important to me, and this is what it means, right? This is like, I'm questioning again, are you going to be there for me, right?
Mhm.
Or, am I still sexy to, do you still feel desired? And really, when it comes to life transitions, when it comes to sex, when it comes to money, I lost my job. If I see my value is tied to, I'm the provider, right? Um, do you still, am I good enough, right? Are you
Mhm.
still going to desire me, right? That is the hugest aphrodisiac, desire. Right. So, like, my hair's falling out. I'm transitioning through menopause. My skin's not as tight, right? Um, how can we get to places where we can be emotional and be compassionate and empathetic about our partner's real pain in that matter.
Oh. Okay. Sorry, that was beautiful, and I really appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
So I also know you recently attended Lorrie Brubacher's attachment injury resolution model training through the Carolina Center for EFT. What did you take away from that experience?
Wow, that Lorrie is an awesome trainer. Oh my gosh, that was my first time attending one of her trainings. And I just wanted to, like I said, I'm new to Charlotte from Philadelphia. She's an amazing teacher. EFT isn't the easiest. It is. It's simplistic
It's
in
a
what
simple model, but it's complex.
it's complex, and so
there.
and just as she says, just as the feeling, the emotion of hurt. And so one of the things she said, I'm a visual learner, and she has this car, and as she's saying, pain is hurt is in the driver's seat of the relationship. So for attachment injury, I loved her model, and that model is used. I was already doing it based on my training. I didn't realize it, but I was already following that model based on how I learned from my supervisor, Dr. Ting Lu in Philadelphia, that you're tracking step by step, where the injured person is talking about their pain and just all the steps, and then the offending person is going to be defensive, right? And so how the therapist is just tracking all of that, unpacking it, validating, and getting the couples to a place where they're reframing. There's, oh, it means this, right? And so like, her training was just beautiful. It very, I was already doing it based on how I was already trained. I just didn't have a name to it. But it was just great, a great training. Yeah.
I'm so glad that was a good experience.
Mhm.
Is there anything else you'd like to share?
Also, like during that training,
Mm.
what was really powerful for me, because again, this is my first time attending Lorrie's training. This is my really first time being really integrated into the EFT community here in North Carolina. I did go to some training they had a year ago, but so during the training, there was a time where um, we were watching one of Lorrie's recordings where she was doing her attachment model with a couple of color, and one of the other therapists of color in session just had a felt sense, right? She had a felt sense of harm to what she saw. It just didn't resonate for her, and she expressed herself, right? So Lorrie made it a safe enough space where that therapist was even okay to even say how she felt about Lorrie's training and how she went through the cycle with this couple, and the person was really, really hurt, right? It was a wounding. Like, again, you never know what that injured what that pain means to them. So then Lorrie is in the offending partner's role, and she just went into it. She opened up the space. She was vulnerable. She took the critique. She processed it. She opened it up to other people of color to say, how is this landing for you? To the whole group. And she was a driver. She was the one, right, that was having the difficult conversation. She modeled what she was teaching perfectly. And there, of course, was a reframe, right? And then that conversation ends up being the antidote, right? For the bonding to happen. And needless to say, before the session was over, that person was reconnected with Lorrie and with others. So it was wonderful to see Lorrie practice what she preaches.
What was that like for you, considering that you're new to the local EFT community?
Well, Rebecca, I can be absolutely honest. In session with every client, I'm very conscious of differences, and my part is to connect with my clients and to make sure we're all safe, right?
Mhm.
I moved here as a direct result of Black Lives Matter, and I just wanted some fresh air. I wanted to be connected with my ancestors and do work for people of color here, in particular in Charlotte, right? I didn't want to say anything. I just wanted to go to training and get to know some folks. So I kind of didn't, I never want to, I don't have to have those conversations. I don't think that I have to. That's kind of, but I do, right? Because my sister, we all are human, right? But my sister of color, was hurt. And I know I felt what she was feeling, her hurt. I could be empathetic to where she was, and had to acknowledge her pain, her felt sense as well, right? So then you're in that space and you have to do that. And they say, like, as therapists, we get secondhand trauma all the time. So we have to be well. We have to always be well. So it's necessary for me to always have a voice and that's just, and it's a heavy place, at times. Yeah. So it would be, it's always nice if you can go somewhere and it doesn't happen, but it always does. Because it always does. I mean, that's what I've found, right? And
For
so
sure.
we're all in this together. We're on this journey. That's what I said. We're all on this journey together.
Yeah. Seems like you understand that especially as white therapists have a lot of growing and learning to do. I appreciate, you being in it with us and talking so openly, and also providing support for therapists of color and solidarity with them. I'm really glad you're in this community.
Oh, I'm happy to be here as well. And I'm looking forward to, more and more progress. Lorrie is so open. And I loved how she even opened up the training with saying, she honored the tribes whose land we are on. Like she named them. And it was like the most sacred, genuine, heartfelt space. And that feels really good. I'm happy to be a part of her community.
That's cool. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. It's so nice to talk with you.
Thank you. It was great. Thank you, Rebecca.
You're so welcome. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.